Strangles and chokes are the great equalizer. A small person can use a strangle or a choke to defeat a much larger, stronger person. And in this show today, I'm going to look at one aspect of strangling called Juji Jime, the cross-arm strangles. So here we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Scott, and thanks again for joining me in another episode of Freestyle Judo. So today, I'm going to look at Juji Jime. It's kind of a generic name for the cross strangles. Juji means to cross. Jime means to constrict together. And we interpret that to mean strangling or choking. So we're going to look at Juji Jime. There are three primary types. I'm going to explain those in the videos. I have 6 videos queued up. And we're going to take an in-depth look as much as possible we can in this type of format to study Juji Jime. By the way, here's an interesting historical note. The uniforms we use in judo and in all martial arts were designed initially by Jigoro Kano himself, the founder of judo. They evolved and developed in about 1907, between 1905 to 1907. What we wear today is what he developed. Those big lapels we have are developed for 2 primary reasons from what I'm told. The first reason was for one of Kano's favorite things to do was to throw. You had a good handle to throw somebody. That lapel gave you a good thing to grip onto into the sleeve. Another reason those lapels were designed so large is for what we're going to talk about today, the strangling techniques. He liked the Juji Jime, the cross strangles. And he said, well, I'm going to design a judo gi. He may have said this. I don't know what he was thinking, but he did design a judo gi that permits us to have a better grip onto the person's lapel to be able to do the strangle. So that's a bit of historical background. So the very judo uniform we wear, the very martial arts uniform we wear, was designed with strangles and chokes in mind. So here we go. So like I said, I'm going to look at 6 different videos today and cover a wide variety from the basics of Juji Jime on up to some variations which are very effective. So we'll look at those a little later in the show. But right now, I had a good question. The question is this: how long should it take you to get to be a black belt? Okay, first of all, what martial art discipline are you doing? Okay, they vary, okay? Generally, I know from my experience in judo over the years, it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 years to get to be a shodan, initial grade, black belt level. And again, it depends on you. If you are totally immersed in the study and training of judo and live in an area where you can practice hard with good coaching every day of the week, if there's 6-7 days a week you're on the mat, you may get your black belt a whole lot quicker than another guy who doesn't have that opportunity to train at that level. It all depends on you. So another way to look at it is, and I always have looked at it this way that I can remember, judo ranks are like education, and grading in school. You go from the 1st grade to the 2nd grade, 3rd grade on up through your primary grades, the secondary grades, on into your college education. Well, you could equate that in a way to how we do in judo as well, because I look at it this way: a person who gets a shodan from me, that's pretty much like graduating with a bachelor's degree in college. Okay, he's gone. He or she has really worked hard. They got their basics down, and they've chosen an area they're pretty good at generally. By the time you're shodan, by the time you're black belt level, you kind of have an idea what techniques you like, what things you want to, emphasize in your own training. So that's pretty much like getting a bachelor's degree in college. So that's how I look at it. Okay, some people look at it like ranks in the military. I tend not to think that because Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, was an educator, and his initial purpose of inventing ranks was to provide external motivation so one person could move from one level to the next, progressively gain more skill, knowledge, and understanding and appreciation of the sport, art, science of judo. And that's why I kind of look at it too. So to answer your question, 4 to 6 years on the average. Again, depends on you, depends on your grasp of the knowledge. It depends on the organization that issues it to you. Some are more lax than others. It's totally up to you. It's totally up to your organization. I know that the structure that we have provided, both at my own club at Welcome Mat and through our Judo Black Belt Association, they're pretty stringent. And they're as good as anybody's, I guess. We certainly believe that. So if you get a rank from us, you've earned it. And we believe in sweat equity. It's not how much financially it costs or anything else. It's how much hard work you put into it. So that being said, I'd say 4 to 6 years on the average for a black belt in judo. Again, different martial disciplines have different practices and the way they approach it, rank anyway. So, but that's how we do it here. So maybe that answers your question, and good luck on your progression. When somebody asks me this, good luck on getting your black belt. Okay, let's switch gears here and look at Juji Jime, the cross strangles. Juji, of course, means to cross something. Okay, Jime means to pinch together or to strangle. And there's a very effective series of chokes. Juji Jime is the generic name for 3 primary applications. Nami Juji Jime, the normal hand position, which I'll explain in the first video. Gyaku Juji Jime, the reverse upside down, palms up position of the hands. And then KATA Jime, one up, one down in terms of palms. I'll explain that in the first video. Maybe the second video. I can't remember right off here. Yeah, there we go. But the first video is going to really look at the background of Juji Jime. I think it's interesting. I think it's going to discuss how it works here. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first video is about 2 minutes, and it's just a little bit on the background, the history, how it works, why it works. So here we go. First video on Juji Jime. So here we go. It's interesting. Lapel strangles were the favorite of the man who invented judo, Jigoro Kano, and he designed the judo uniform. And now, all kinds of uniforms of the variations, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and karate and all kinds of stuff, Aikido. This is the uniform that was developed in, I think, 1907. And he did it with lapels, big lapels in mind. And for gripping, for throwing, and also for lapel strangles. So, what we're going to do now is some lapel strangles, some cross strangle action. This gi was designed just to do these strangles, so it's like a perfect thing to have. So it's a great tool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work from the bottom, and we're going to work on what's called a cross strangle, Juji Jime. Juji means to cross. I'm crossing my arms. Okay. Jime means to constrict. And as we were talking about before earlier, we're not pushing away. We're pulling him in and sucking him into us. Okay. And it's a very powerful strangle in that sense. And against the strangle, it's against the carotid arteries here. So we're going to work on one. Juji Jime is like this, but you have basically 3 different ways to manipulate your hands. Okay, and it's your choice. Some strangles will work better for a particular grip than others. You'll find this as you get better at this stuff. This is the Gyaku, or reverse direction. My hands, palms to me. Okay. Nami is normal, where your palms are away from you, kind of a normal grip like this, palm down. And KATA is half and half. Okay, so Gyaku, reverse, Nami, and KATA. Okay, you'll learn those names eventually, but the thing to remember is Juji Jime, cross strangle. My arms are crossed and I'm strangling them, constricting them. Juji Jime means to constrict, okay, to squeeze together. And you'll see that's what we do with arteries. Okay, that's, short, very short background of why and how this strangle works. So now let's look at the basics. It's almost a 5-minute video on the basics of Nami, Gyaku, and KATA, Juji Jime. And we're doing a video of me doing it with Derek, and we were teaching one night. There's a little bit of background noise in the video. We were at the old gym, and the boxers and Muay Thai guys they were in a ring next door to our mat. They were making a little bit of noise. It's not too bad. I think you can hear it. So anyway, this next video, the basics of Juji Jime. So here we go. And I'm fighting him, and body position is fundamental here. If I just lay on my back and try this, I'm not going to do it very well. I have to be on my flanks or my hips. So in this particular case, what I want to do is be on my left hip primarily, because I want to be coming over here. So here I am. My left hand, I'm going to be grabbing his lapel like it's a rope. This is a good part of the thing, the gi that I'm going to use as an anchor. Okay, so I hold here, slide this through. And I like to do palm up. Some people may do palm down. I like to do palm up because the blade of the hand is going right against the carotid immediately. So here I am like this and controlling. Now this is a pretty good control position if I'm fighting in guard. Even that, my arms are bent. Okay, I'm not extending my arms. And here I am like this. So you can see my thumb is directly under his ear. And I got a good grip inside the gi. Okay, now, see this position here? My elbow will be going in, but what's even more important, my left hand, this is my anchor hand, okay? I anchored it. My choking hand, my attacking hand, will slide under here. Don't go over, go under. It's sneakier and it gets the job done better. And I slide into skin. I don't want to have to grab a lot of gi. So I'm like this, and notice I'm on my left hip. Now watch, when I slide this through, palm up, this is the gyaku version, the reverse palm up version. I slide through here, and now when I do this, see I've got a good solid grip here like this, okay? Now what I'm going to do, I want to close my elbows down, and I'm going to roll to my right. And I'll be pulling him into me, and it will really choke him well. So just like this, and this is the tap. And that's the movement. So I'm pulling him to me. I'm not pushing away, I'm not pushing his face, I'm not flailing my elbows, okay? So I start here like this, slide it through, and I swing and catch it. And there's the choke. Now, the rest is the hand position, okay? You may want to do palm down. Some people like that. Okay? That's more of the Nami Juji Jime. Both hands will be palm down, Nami Juji Jime. So like this, slide under, like that, catch him the same thing. Try to keep your wrists straight. I didn't do it quite perfect like I wanted to, so I'm going to do this, I want my wrists as straight as I can, right up there. Some people, if you cannot get inside the lapel, you may even grab the gi up here. So if I start here, this I definitely want inside the lapel so I get good control. I may come up here and grab this gi, and snatch it to get a tap. Okay? Notice how I roll in and pull them in like that. Now we did gyaku, reverse, nami, normal. Now we're going to do half and half. Totally your choice. Generally, it's been my experience, and I've choked a number of opponents with this in my career, and so have my athletes. I like the anchor hand to be palm up because I have better control. It looks like I'm curling weights. So like this, here I am like that controlling. Now this hand, I can go palm down. So KATA, half and half, like this. So here, and finish the choke. So those are the three variations of the basic Juji Jime, cross choke. Nami, normal, gyaku, palms up, and kata, half and half. And that's basically it. Notice the body movement. And one more thing, I'm not flat. I'm not laying here flat trying this and trying to use lapels to choke it. If I am flat, if I do get stuck flat on my back, it's not a strong position whether I'm trying this choke or anything. I want to get up at least on my haunches, and a good way to do that is to anchor up. Posture up for me and get on my hips. Control. Now, even if I don't do this choke, I'm in a better position than if I'm flat. And here I am like this, and I can sneak this in or catch it. Okay? Sometimes you'll turn them and roll them. There are other variations of this, but basically, if I can catch here, now, and I swing into my elbow. Swing into my elbow, and I'll tighten it up and choke it. So that's the Juji Jime series. And that's the basics of it. There are a lot of variations of this. But if you get a solid basis like this, and I might also, one more thing before we stop, I like to teach it from the bottom position, from the guard position. I get more leverage with it than if I'm on top. You can do this from a top position as well, but from the bottom it's a lot stronger and more effective, at least in my experience. So there we have it, with Nami, Gyaku, and Kata Juji Jime.
Now this upcoming video is a very practical application of Juji Jime. I always said your strangles and chokes start with your legs, and that's a funny thing to say, but it's how you control your opponent initially with your lower extremities, your legs, and how you manipulate their body. You know, getting your hooks in to flatten them out, to roll them over, whatever it may be. You've got to isolate them. You've got to park them there before you can really strangle them. And here's a good example. Sandy Harrelson in this next video is showing with Mike Pennington basically a grapevine setup. And you can use those. You can push on the knees. You can do other things. But this is a very effective way of strangling somebody from the bottom position. And by the way, I might add here, in all the videos we're looking at today, we're doing the Juji Jime from the bottom position. You can do it from the top. You can start from different situations. But mostly what you'll see, the very effective Juji Jime techniques, the cross strangles, the cross arm strangles, come often from a bottom position. Not always, but often. And that's why we're emphasizing these in today's show. So next video is about a little over 3 minutes long, and it explains pretty fully. Sandy talks a lot about how to manipulate grapevine with the legs to get more torque, more nastiness in that choke. So you'll see what I mean here. So here we go, Juji Jime with grapevine leg control. So here we go. So guys, okay, let's take this Juji Jime cross strangle action. Okay, now we're going to control him better with the use of the legs. And you know, a lot of times I say you start your chokes or your strangles with your legs, believe it or not. You've got to use your legs to control your partner or your opponent's lower extremities or his body entirely. So in this case, Sandy is going to use her legs in a grapevine fashion with this Juji Jime series here. So she's going to go ahead and tie up. Now, notice you can see everybody look at her feet. Her feet are here. She's got what we call open guard. Her legs are open in the Newaza position, because eventually she's going to be. Go ahead and grapevine him just to show there how you grapevine. She's going to grapevine that way. See that? And that flattens Mike out. And by flattening him out, when she does that, she will pull him into the strangle. And she's particularly mean in it, and she's good at it. That's why I'm asking her to do it, because notice how she used her feet to lift his feet up and kick him out a little more. So watch, bam, see that? Great control action there. So that's something I'd like to see everybody do. Now let's look at that as she applies the strangle. She's going to do her Juji Jime. Now when she does this, one thing she's doing here that I want to point out, can everybody see this? Look at her right hand. She's lifting her wrist under Mike's chin just to lift it up. She's not trying to choke him with it. She's lifting it up so she can get her other hand in. So it gives her, she's lifting his head to give more room. And when she does this, and then she'll go ahead and apply the standard lapel strangle from there and grapevine him out and catch it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Don't go to sleep, Mike. Don't go to sleep. All right. So she's applying it. She's okay. She's got her now. Are your both hands palms up? Yeah. So she's got a Gyaku Juji Jime, reverse palms up fashion, and that works very well. I like that particular way myself. And she's got the legs grapevine. Now when she does this, she flattens them out and applies the strangle, and there we have it. Okay. So it really is effective, and you're controlling your opponent's lower body, and he's caught in a cross lapel strangle here. And he's stuck, and you've got him. You're the one who made him stuck. So we good? Okay, one more time, Sandy, because we like to see Mike get choked. There you go. Okay, and again, when in doubt, tap out. Don't try to be macho and tough this out, because you could go to sleep.
And even though you're leaning back to get the grapevine, don't go flat like this. Stay in that low position. And then when you drop them, you're still here. I'm not here. If I move here, I'll lose this. He gets too much space.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Can you do one more time, just to demo what you just talked about, what you explained? See how her shoulders are up off the tatami, off the mat?
Load into him, keep sucking him into me.
All right, let's give that a try. It's a great. And again, Sandy was using the grapevine of the legs to control and manipulate and to add more pressure to the strangle. You can push on the knees, you can roll them over, you can do a lot of things to manipulate with your lower extremities, their lower extremities and their bodies. So this is just one to illustrate how well you can control an opponent with the lower extremities to isolate him, to get him into a strangle, in this case, Juji Jime. This next one is one of my favorite techniques of all time. It has been used we've used it a lot. I've seen it used a lot. It's called the trap choke. It's really a variation of a KATA Juji Jime. And it is really sneaky, and it is dynamite. I know my wife has used it. I've seen some greats in judo use it. Diane Pierce, Linda Richardson, some women who were absolutely dynamite at it. People in my own club have used it. I've used it. It is a very sneaky, effective choke. And remember, in the world of strangles and chokes, sneaky is a good thing. You want to sneak up on them. So that's what this does. So anyway, this is a little over 3 minutes, and we're going to be talking about, in fact, it's Derek and Eric teaching the trap choke. Okay, you'll see what we mean in a minute. So here we go. What it is we've got Derek on the bottom's kind of got a guard position. He's controlling Eric the top. He's going to sneak his right hand in there. That's the choking hand. Choking hand is palm up. And he gets it in there really deep around the neck there on that lapel. Okay, with the other hand, it's going to be palm down, just like that, and just like he's grabbing a baseball bat. You can see that, okay? Now, pretty basic way we practice here at Welcome Mat is that since Derek's hand, the right hand, is going to be the choking hand, he's decided that already by having it palm up. He's going to fake out Eric, and he's going to give him a leg to pass. So he passes the guard, and he comes in, he swings in, and there, good. I didn't get a very good picture of it, but we'll do it again. I'll stay here, show you again here. So what happens is, he sets it up, he drops it. When Eric comes around, he swings under, and he passes, and he catches him. So that's the trap choke. A lot of you guys in the room tonight know it. Over here, you guys in the corner, you've been working on it tonight. And there you go, swing by, and you trap him. So it's kind of like his head's stuck in a nutcracker, and you just squeeze your arms together. Set him up. He doesn't feel your hands sneaking around him. He's got a full guard here like this, as you can see. And Eric doesn't know. He's head's on his chest, head's on Derek's chest, and Derek is just kind of there holding him in the full guard and not letting him up. But now he's starting to manipulate, put his hands where he wants them. So get your palm up, Derek. And yeah, there you go. And he doesn't really see that. But what happens now is Derek lets go of the full guard, and he says, oh my gosh, freedom, I'll come around. And a lot of times that does fake him out. So by pulling him down to your chest, he can't see what your hands are doing. So like that, but you're manipulating in there into the lapel as it is, and he swings around to the side, and you swing in there. What happens here, okay. See that? Palm up. Now, when Derek drops his leg, he pretty much lets the guy pass. Eric passed. Now look at the hand. See that? Okay, now he's going to swing his right arm in and catch it. There you go. And it's like you come on your left hip, you roll with your right hip up, and that catches it right there. Yeah, swing that elbow. That's a good point. Sandy's reminding me. When you swing the elbow, it swings right under the trachea. Let me stay there, guys. Just come up. Sorry, moving the head. See how that hit it? Now watch the elbow swing under. See that forearm? That's the action of the choke. And that is nasty. That's a very good choke. Because you're choking both the trachea, and that choke is also against the carotid. So it's really an effective choke. Okay? Do not roll them over you. Like, roll them over and let them off the hook, Derek. Like, you roll them over. Yeah, a lot of people think, well, if I roll them over and land on them, I'll get them. No, it's tighter when you're from the bottom in this case. So it really is a sneaky choke. Now, that trap choke, as we call it the trap choke, I've heard that nomenclature used a lot. Some people call it the baseball bat choke because you're grabbing your hands like holding a baseball bat. But in any event, it is a variation of KATA Juji Jime, one up, one down on your palms. So call it what you want. Like they say, call it ippon. It is very effective. And we were doing the bottom version of it. There are also other versions of it where you start standing. You can do it when your opponent is kneeling. There are a lot of variations of this trap choke. But we showed the bottom one, which is that's the most predominant one done. And it's quite effective, Okay, the fifth video, we're going to talk about the loop choke. They call it the loop choke. And again, it's a variation of one of the Juji Jimes. And this is effective as well. I've seen this used with a lot of success by a lot of different people. So anyway, without further ado, it's about 3 minutes, 40 seconds long. So let's look at the loop choke Juji Jime. Here we go. And we're working. Now, what I like to do also, I don't like to stay flat on my back. I want to get on a hip, because if I'm on my back, I'm in trouble. Okay, I've just negated any type of mobility I might have, really, because this mat is just like a wall.
It is a wall. I'm laying on it, okay? And that's not a good thing. And all his weight's on me, and I'm in trouble. So I got to remember that. So my body position is pretty essential here too. So when I start this strangle, I'm going to be on my right hip. I'm going to be turning this way to him. And as I turn this way to him, with my left hand, I'm going to grab right here, palm up, right here on the side of his neck, where the thumb could, if I brought the thumb back, it would be right behind his ear, okay? All right, so there's my setup right there, okay? Now, what I want to do is, as I loop, I'm going to move my body around him. You'll see what I mean in a minute here. Now, if you can, some people like to grab their thumb inside this. I don't. I've never found it works for me. You can try it if you want. But what I'm going to do with my other hand, as I come around and loop over, I'm going to take my right hand here, and I'm going to grab up here somewhere. I'm going to pull his head down and grab a tuft of jacket. Okay, so I've got this, and you can get a handful of jacket right up here. If you can get the thumb in, great. It might work for you. Some people it really does. It doesn't for me. Okay, but I'm going to grab here and this tuft of jacket. So I've got this palm down. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I loop him, my arm over his head. I'm going to shift my body a bit too. So I'm going to come over here and I'll loop this one. So I was here, wasn't I? Okay. And this was my start position, and I'm working here. Now he's not stupid. He knows something's on here. He's going to be fighting this. He knows. Here's the threat, okay? He doesn't know here's the threat. So here comes the other threat that's going to start working it. And as I do that, I'm going to loop around here and finish off this. Now, when I do this, this is the choking hand here. Now, my elbow is going to go straight down. So as I come here like this, elbow comes over, straight down. Don't push. You won't choke him. You won't strangle him. What I want to do from here, turn. Get my hand, I'm going to pull here, get a handful of jacket. Now when I come over, loop over. Now look, watch this elbow. It goes straight down. Palm is this way, like this. And this, that's here. What's that?
Tuck those elbows in.
Yeah, tuck those elbows in. Because here's the strangle action here. Here's where you're going to really catch this carotid here. Okay? So working here, and he knows it's coming, and he's fighting me. He knows it's happening, and now I'm going to move over. As I move over, loop over, catch it here, and there's the choke. You see, I'm still on my hip, but I turn over to this side. Everybody see that? So my body shift is pretty important doing this application of this. Okay, one more time. So we're working here, and I might, if nothing else, I'm controlling it. I've got an anchor hand here. Okay, but I want to work it up here as best I can. Now I'm in a pretty good position. He knows something's up. He's going to be fighting whatever. Now I'm going to start working here. See? Get a handful of jacket. And when I do this, I loop over. There. Now elbow straight down. See, like this. And what this does, this cinches it in. This really tightens it up on the carotid. And I've seen guys go to sleep with this choke, with a strangle. So it really does work. It's a pretty good move. I just call it the loop choke, but it's a variation of KATA Juji Jime.
Okay, that's a good choke. That's a good strangle. And again, we're using different parts of the opponent's jacket, not always just the lapel. We're using part of the up here, part of the gi as it pops out. So remember, everything's a handle. As my old coach Rene Pomerel often said, everything is a handle. Perfectly the case here when we're talking about a loop choke. Okay, this last video kind of sums it up. It's a little under a minute. And I just talk about how the Strangles are the great equalizer. So we'll wrap it up here on this bit with just slightly under a minute. The great equalizer. Here we go.
And again, strangles and chokes should be sneaky because, they're the great equalizer. A smaller person can certainly defeat a much larger, heavier person. Like I always say, everybody's got a neck. No matter how big you are, everybody's got a neck, okay? And
some of the big guys, they choke out.
They choke out real easy. And these carotids, they regulate the blood, which carries oxygen to the brain, and you can make a guy pass out. So when you feel, and you're the top person, when you feel the pressure tightening in, don't be a tough guy, because you might go to sleep, okay? Seriously. So when you feel that in, okay, all right, tap out. That's, when in doubt, tap out. Okay, everybody got that? We good at it? Let's give it a try.
I think I made my point in that last video, short but sweet. Strangles are really effective. They really work. And I remember learning them. Some of the first techniques I learned as a student when I was 12 years old were Juji Jime strangles, type of strangles. They're very effective. I would also say, I would caution everybody to use these because you can put somebody to sleep quite quickly. They are very effective because you are cutting the carotids off, you're blocking the oxygen to the brain, and that could happen very quickly. A person could go to sleep within seconds. So, don't be a tough guy and try to tough it out. When in doubt, tap out. And don't play games like I've seen people in past years in my own training and training of others, where they considered it less than macho to tap out to a strangle in practice. Tap out, okay? Don't go to sleep. Harm could happen to you. You're cutting off blood to the brain, oxygen to the brain. That destroys brain cells. So be very careful in strangles and chokes. And coaches, I heard a young coach years ago, don't tell your students never tap out. When in doubt, tap out. When it hurts, when the strangle effect happens, tap out. It's not a sign of weakness. And I heard of one young coach, very young and immature as a coach. He wasn't a coach. He was just happened to teach judo at a small club. And he would tell his students, don't give up on a choke. And that was just really bad advice. And I really dressed him down one time when one of his students was seriously injured from a strangle in a local competition. And I'm glad that individual's out of coaching now because that's terrible advice. And anybody who tells advice like that shouldn't be teaching people judo. I feel very strongly about it. So strangles can be dangerous, but if they can be done safely, if you remember, take care of your partner, take care of yourself. So anyway, hey, that's it for strangles and chokes in this episode of Juji Jime and how long should it take you to get to be a black belt, all that great stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.